This week on the Mary Sunshine Show, it's episode 2, and we're talking cannabis.
Cannabis.
Hey, cannabis, bongs and everything. No, we're not doing that. We are talking, however, how cannabis can help you deal with some of your MS symptoms, and we're really excited to get that started, so let's go.
I'm ready to fly down 65, hit the coastline in the sunshine. I'm going to find my new high, hit the coastline in the sunshine.
Welcome to the second episode of Mary Sunshine Show. We are so excited that you're here because obviously you're coming back too, because we had so many great viewers, awesome people watching the first episode, great comments and feedback we got. Thank you if you watched the first episode and also subscribed and liked and did all that fun stuff. Don't forget to do that. But we are back this week, Colleen, with a whole new episode on kind of a fun topic in a way, but also one that really can help, right?
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about cannabis. First of all, what is it in case there's somebody that doesn't know?
All right. Well, cannabis is THC. Sometimes it's CBD. Cannabis is a drug that's been around for thousands and thousands of years. It's basically a plant, and
it's weed.
Yeah, weed, marijuana.
It's weed, ganja. It's marijuana. It's an interesting drug because even more and more now we're seeing, and I don't even know if do you want to call it a drug or just I don't even know, because
medicine. For me, it's a medicine.
It's for you a medicine, and for a lot of people it's become a medicine. There's a very big number of studies that have shown, especially from a CBD perspective. We'll talk about the difference between CBD and THC shortly, but from that perspective, there's been tons of studies on therapies.
And they continue to study things because we've really looked down on cannabis for years, but they're seeing how it can help you in many, many ways.
Yeah, exactly. And so let's talk about the two sides of it. Obviously, there's the elephant in the room, which is the THC. And the THC is psychoactive, right? That is the psychoactive.
Yes.
So tell us about THC, what you could feel if you end up taking it. What are we looking at with THC?
Well, as far as I understand, it can make you feel very out of it, kind of like, I don't even know, lost in space. That's what I understand. But I understand that for myself, if I have a THC gummy, it helps me and gives me energy, which is, as we all know, an MS thing, is to be fatigued.
Right. So so this is a really interesting point because it's not all CBD that's medical. There is THC benefits too. One being for energy, but a specific type of sort of cannabis, right? There's sativa and indica. So tell us what those both mean. So
that's what I'm saying. A sativa gummy gives me enough energy and I feel great. Indica helps you sleep.
Okay.
Indica is a marijuana plant. I don't know. It helps you rest, keeps you restful and relaxed. Helps you sleep. Yeah,
and so we'll talk about that because as people learned in our first episode, one of your big problems and one of your big symptoms over the years has been sleep, and you've really experienced some benefits, particularly from CBD and some of the other variations of what they call dead THC. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but you've really found some good benefits from CBD in particular. Obviously, you've had the THC. Now, you also say to me all the time when we're out buying it or whatever and getting it for you is make sure it's mixed with the CBD. Why is that?
Make sure what's mixed?
That there's also CBD in it.
Because there's also CBD and THC. They kind of, as far as I understand, they kind of help each other out. So if you're buying something that's CBD based and you want it to actually activate, you need a little bit of THC. And as far as I know, a little bit of CBD in THC helps things work a little better.
And it can reduce the psychoactive effects, right?
Yes,
they kind of cancel each other out from that perspective.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody who absolutely doesn't want to get high, and most of most of us would fall into that category, I would think. I'm sure there's people that use it for fun, but that's a different show altogether. But again, you're not using it for that purpose. You're using it on a medical side. And so most of the time, if not all of the time, you don't really want to feel high. You like getting the energy,
I do like
from
getting
the
the
THC.
energy.
But it doesn't really make you high, does it?
No,
It just because
no.
it's mixed with that CBD. So I'm now hearing, and this is basically in the last maybe 6 months, and it's been you just talked about it the most, but also when we go to some of the professional stores that sell this, is CBN and CBG.
Yes.
What in the world are they? Why are we getting so many CB things?
Well, so basically, trying to minimize this. 3 years ago, Canada became like
Cannabis was legal.
yeah, cannabis became legal, and almost immediately I went to speak with a cannabis doctor, a professional, and I just said, these are the problems I've had my whole life, and I've been an insomniac since I was 5. How can you help me? Started with CBD, and that helped me sleep so well for maybe a month or so, and then I wanted more non-psychoactive medicine, so then I found CBN, also non-psychoactive, and helps you sleep, and also CBG. So those are the things that I've found super awesome with marijuana.
It's really helped you. Like, I've noticed your sleep has been so much better in the last year, really, when you've discovered these two sort of versions of, so they're actually THC, but that's been deactivated, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make you feel
there's no
mind-messed.
psychoactive. Yeah, and so that's really cool because not only do you get relaxed and you're able to sleep, and for you, who's somebody who's experienced insomnia since you were basically an infant, this is a whole new world for you.
It is, and it's great. And I think as far as I understand, many people with MS, what the frustration is you're exhausted, you're beat down, but you can't sleep. You feel like you could sleep, but
you can't fall
asleep. And that's, I think, many people with MS, and I don't know if it's the inflammation that doesn't allow you to sleep, but...
Yeah, and let's talk about inflammation, because obviously it's not just sleep that CBD helps. It's actually proven as an anti-inflammatory, correct?
Absolutely, and a lot of people use CBD for the pain that they have from MS.
Yeah, CBD is so, like, you are not going to get high from CBD. Yeah, exactly. So if you're out there watching and you're thinking, I'm just so nervous I'm going to get high and I don't use this, you're not from CBD. But you want to be specific that that's the one you get, right? Now, also, I'm sure the big question out there for anybody who hasn't really gotten into this yet, Colleen, is, do I have to smoke it?
No. I use oils, and so I'll take some oils before bed. I also have gummies, as I mentioned. So yeah, they don't have to smoke it. I'm not a fan of smoking, but to each their own.
And you also do soft gels, right?
Yes, soft gels. Thank you.
So soft gels, what are they?
They're basically easily soft gels that are filled with oil.
So they're basically like almost like if you've ever taken vitamin E supplements, they almost look exactly like that, right? Like they're yellow and they they've got liquid inside.
They do.
And you just take them orally like you would take a pill, right? And so if you're worried that your kids are going to smell it or there's going to be the stigma around it, it really isn't. It's an opportunity for you to benefit from it, first of all, from your sleep perspective as well, but also you don't feel, if you take it during the day, for example, for some inflammation or whatever, to help your balance, does it help your balance? Is it anything to do with that?
I find that, I've never tried CBD to assess my balance, so I will give that a shot.
There you go. Dr. Chris, right here. No, definitely not. Definitely not. Cross out that MD. I'm not that. But I wonder about it because, if it is anti-inflammatory and inflammation is what's obviously causing a lot of some of the MS symptoms, if it reduces it, maybe that's what you'll see, but I don't know. So we'll get back to you on that when Colleen tries it. Yeah. But again, there's just so many benefits to it from a health perspective.
Exactly.
And I think one of the things we would probably stress in this episode too is talk to your neurologist first. Talk to a medical professional.
Yeah, and in my opinion, like the doctor I went to see in London, Ontario, he was a doctor, an actual doctor. He was a physician. And then he just moved over to cannabis. So I would suggest talking to a cannabis doctor or someone who knows exactly what they're talking about.
Exactly, especially if you're in a jurisdiction that is not legal, you're going to need to do that because it may be legal only medically and you'll need a license for it, right? So, or a prescription, I guess. It's not a license. Here's your drug. Show me your cannabis license. But I think that's important, and you know, we're not doctors on this show, so we're not prescribing this for you in any way. But we are suggesting that it's helped Colleen, and that's a good thing. And so, you know, it's definitely worth the question to your medical professional to say, hey, you know, how can this help me? I've seen Mary Sunshine show. You can give us a little plug. And Colleen is a MS warrior, and she very much benefits from it.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's worth that conversation for sure, I would say.
I agree.
Now, is there any other benefits to cannabis that you can think of that you didn't expect when you started to utilize it for the sleep?
Well, first of all, the CBN that I use for sleep and the CBG, I don't wake up feeling messed up. I don't wake up feeling, I don't know, mind messed or high. I just wake up feeling like I had a great sleep.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that's important to stress too, that there's no kind of hangover to it.
No,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and especially the CBD. You know, we
CBD,
can't really
CBN.
speak to the THC side of it.
No.
I don't think, from what I've heard, that there's a hangover from that, but I mean, you know, we're more specifically speaking about the CBD.
Yes.
And so you wake up refreshed, right?
Yeah, I wake up feeling great.
Which is
I had
good
good
because the fatigue will set in 10 minutes later. Right? And that's just the way it is,
yeah.
right? So, but having a good sleep means that the fatigue is less intense, correct?
Well, and having good sleep means that your body has some time to heal, and anything that may not be working well, your body can work on it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so is there anything else that you would use outside of cannabis that maybe is a supplement that you found helpful?
I find magnesium is very helpful for sleep. I find that magnesium, there's a magnesium supplement called Natural Calm, and it's like magnesium with various other things, melatonin, L-theanine, GABA. It has a bunch of things to help you sleep. So that's another one that I will use, and it works really well. Another thing too I like to use is oil of oregano. Mm-hmm. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's also like antibiotic. It's like a natural antibiotic if you're not into using prescription antibiotics.
Mm-hmm. And specifically with oil of oregano, you need to make sure that it's at least 80% carvacrol, right?
Yeah, and another thing too is, I know red wine has got benefits to it, and I don't always want to drink red wine or alcohol, so
speak for yourself.
So there are supplements called resveratrol, which is the component of red wine that is so healthy for you. So I also buy resveratrol.
Resveratrol. It's not an easy word to say, but it is.
I also buy resveratrol supplements, along with vitamin D supplements, because if you have MS, well, the first thing I ever heard from my doctor was you definitely should be taking vitamin D, and I've heard it repeatedly over the last gazillion years.
Now, is that because you are so sensitive to heat in the summer, you avoid the sun as much as possible, or is it just simply that it's depleted in someone with MS?
That's a good question.
See, we can look that up. I think we can look that up. We can ask. We'll find that out for the audience. But that was just me being curious about that. I don't know the answer or even have a good idea of whether that is the reason. But I know that you have heat sensitivities and cold sensitivities as well. So this has been awesome. I think this has been a lot of good discussion on what CBD can be. Again, we want to stress, go talk to your medical professional, especially if it's not legal where you live, because you'll need a prescription. But even if you don't need a prescription and you're in Canada and watching this, and it's legal, I would still talk to a medical professional as well, just to make sure you're in point in your MS where you could handle the CBD. Not that it makes a huge impact on you, but just to be sure, and talk about some of the things you've heard here and help to get that verified. I think that's always a good thing too, to get two opinions on that. But Colleen, this has been great.
Has been great. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for watching. And next week we'll have an all new episode, so stay tuned for that. Keep connected with the This Baker Life channel. Subscribe and hit the little bell thingy, so that way it gives you a notification when we have a new episode. We'll see you next week.